Hi guys, welcome to PlaySafe episode number 5. Today we're going to be talking about overuse injuries and different kinds of symptoms, causes, mechanisms of injury, the different types of overuse injuries and like what they are. So let's get into it. So first of all, overuse injuries are injuries that occur gradually over time when an athlete does an activity that is repeated over and over again with little breaks in between and don't give enough time for the body to heal. So young athletes are the most in risk for overuse injuries because their bodies are still growing, and if they're just repeatedly playing over and again, then that's how the injury is caused. So you know why it's caused. What are symptoms of overuse injuries? Like other injuries, the symptoms are like pain, increasing like pain as you keep doing that same activity. Changes in the form or technique. Say you are like throwing pitches in baseball. Baseball players are like the most prone to this. They are the most at risk because baseball players do the same things over and over again at a very intense motion. Pitching is very intense and you have to do it a lot. Hitting, not really, but it's mainly pitching and different knee joints. I'll get into the injuries. Decreased performance is another symptom of overuse injury. And then finally, a decreased interest in practicing, because if you're feeling pain, then you don't really want to practice, you just want to play. So yeah. So one type of injury is the Sever's disease, which is a heel pain of overuse injury. And this is caused in adolescents during their growth spurt, and it's mainly how do I explain it? It's you kind of have a heel injury from not walking too much, but just overusing it, maybe sliding, different things you could be doing with your heel, I'd like to say in karate, just a bunch of kicks and stuff like that. It's kind of like that. And then Osgood-Schlatter disease, which is pain in the front of your knee due to the inflammation of the growth plate. So that, again, from overusing that body part, you could get that injury. So what are some throwing injuries? Throwing injuries are literally the most common. Don't quote me on that. I'm just assuming. Overthrowing, obviously, may result in the inflammation of structures in the elbow, the ligament, cartilage, and the growth plate. The medial apophysis is so your elbow, this is if you're throwing, right? Then this is where the injury mainly happens, because not only does it affect your rotator cuff, but the elbow is, if you're throwing wrong, then that's where the biggest pain could be, especially in the growth plate. And then it's known as little leaguer's elbow, and so it's affected by the medial apophysis, which is the bony bump, and then the medial epicondyle, which is a different part in the elbow. I'm not sure exactly where it's located. I'll show a diagram. And then the medial apophysis at the end of the humerus, and then I believe the medial epicondyle could be at the end of your radius. Hold on. And then wrist muscles could also cause inflammation of that growth plate in your wrist. And then strains and sprains, are also caused by overuse injury. If you're lifting weights too much without any breaks, then you'll get a bunch of strains. Same thing with sprains. So what is some prevention for overuse injuries? So you want to limit the number of teams you play on in one season. This is kind of a weird one, which I was taking notes on. But basically, if apparently, like, if you're a father watching this, or you're a kid, you don't want to be participating in too many different sports in one season. So you don't want to be part of like 3 or 4 teams in one season, like basketball, baseball, soccer, like football. I mean, you can, but it's just too much, and you're not really giving your body a break by rotating. I don't know who would do this, but yeah, that is one way to get the injury. Secondly, try not to play like a sport year round. This is prevention. I'm not saying you shouldn't do this, but if you really want to prevent this injury, then try not to keep throwing. Just give yourself a break. Secondly, get medical clearance. If you had an injury, say like in your rotator cuff, get medical clearance to play again, because if you start throwing and you have an injury, that is like one of the biggest risks. And then always schedule recovery days. So always, throughout your week, whenever you're playing, whenever you're not playing, try to schedule on recovery days to prevent the overuse injury. Second to finally, I want to talk about the acute versus overuse injury. So acute injury is when it's like a one and done. So if an athlete rolls or sprains their ankle by jumping wrong, that is an acute injury. And an overuse injury is how they gradually develop pain. It's over time. So acute and overuse injuries are 2 different types of injuries, and they cause different types of pain. It could be the same, but it's mostly different types. And yeah, they're just 2 completely injuries that should be differentiated. Finally, I want to talk about treatment. So always identify the injury first if you can, and reduce workload on it. So if you are pitching in a baseball game and you are hurting, just stop, because the more you do it, the worse it gets, and it can get really bad, And then allow healing and always ice the injured part. Restore movement and strength over time. Maybe you might have to do some physical therapy, like resistance bands, weight bearing, whatever you need to do. Just try to restore that movement and strength, and then start working on your technique again, because technique is one of the biggest things in all sports. Because even in lifting weights, if you're doing something wrong, the technique could be the reason why. And then gradually rebuild your sports activity. So when you're at the start of your injury, maybe play one or barely any, 1 day out of the week of sport, and then over time, add 2 days of sports, 3, 4, and just gradually build yourself up again. So yeah, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you learned a lot. Again, I'm not a professional, so just coming out of the mind of a high school teenager that does research. Thank you so much for watching. This is PlaySafe episode 5. Come again for episode 6. See you guys.